Week 19 already of the fantasy baseball season, and it's crunch time now for a lot of fantasy owners. But here's a few pitchers I look to add this week and possibly can help you in the playoffs or make the playoffs here. First guy's Michael Wacha, the Boston Red Sox. So it's been an up and down type of year for Wacha with injuries and inconsistencies. But over the last few weeks here, he's pitching great baseball. On the season here for Wacha, one of the only bright spots for the Red Sox, 83 innings. 8-1 record and complete game shutout, 62 hits, 21 runs, 24 walks, 63 Ks, 4 quality starts, a 2.28 ERA, a 1.04 whip. But over the last couple weeks here, for Wacha, 12 2/3, 2-0 record, 6 hits, 2 walks, 13 Ks, a quality start, no ERA, and an 0.63 whip. So he's going out there and he's pitching great baseball for this Red Sox team here. And in these last couple outings, he had the Yankees and Baltimore, two pretty decent hitting teams, obviously, but the Yankees being a better one, but he shut them down August 14th versus the Yankees. 7 innings, got the win. 2 hits, no runs, a walk, 9 Ks, a quality start. And August 20th at Baltimore, 5 2/3, got the win. 4 hits, no runs, a walk, 4 Ks. So Michael Wacha, what a turnaround it's been for him, no doubt about it this season, especially in the toughest division in all Major League Baseball over there in the AL East. And it's surprising to me he's still out there in 41% of fantasy leagues. Obviously, he's not going to be available in a lot of fantasy leagues, and he could go the other way with the division opponents and the tough lineups he's got to verse. But right now, one of the best pitchers over the last few weeks here in fantasy baseball. He's definitely worth an ad this week. The next guy is Justin Steele of the Chicago Cubs. So the Cubs in the same boat here as the Boston Red Sox. Another lost season for them and a struggling season, but they're trying to find pieces for the next few years here. And Justin Steele definitely is one of them on the season here for Steele. Pretty solid numbers. 113 2/3, 4-7 record, 6 hits, 46 walks, 41 runs, 8 quality starts, and 120 strikeouts. So right here, more than a strikeout an inning here for Steele. And he's going out there and pitching great with a 3.23 ERA and a 1.34 whip. So the last few outings here for Steele, August 10th versus Washington, 6 innings, no decision, 2 hits, no runs, 9 Ks, a quality start. August 16th at the Nats again, 6 innings, no decision, 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 Ks, a quality start. And August 21st versus the Brewers, 6 innings in that one, no decision, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, 9 Ks, a quality start. So right here, he's going out there and he's pitching great baseball. No doubt about it is Justin Steele. I know he's on a bad, like I mentioned, Chicago Cub team, even though much run support, not going to win a lot of ball games, but he's going out there and he's pitching valid efforts. His strikeout rate is good, and right now he's available in too many fantasy leagues, in my opinion, in 66% of leagues. And that guy's his teammate, Drew Smiley of the Chicago Cubs. So right here towards the back end of the season now, the Cubs are getting some solid outings from pitchers and veterans who've been around over the last few years. On the season here for Smiley, 76 innings, 5-6 record, 78 hits, 31 runs, 17 walks, 65 Ks, 2 quality starts on the season with a 3.67 ERA and a 1.25 whip. But over the last few weeks here for him, 10 1/3, 1-0 record, 8 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks for Smiley. Available in 84% of leagues. August 11th at the Reds, 5 innings, got the win. 4 hits, no runs, 2 Ks, 2 walks, 9 Ks. August 17th at Washington, 5 1/3 in that one. 4 hits, 2 runs, 4 Ks in that ball game. And his next outing's August 22nd here today versus the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, obviously one of the hottest teams in all the major leagues here. But Drew Smiley's going out there. His strikeout rate's been pretty good. I know he's had 2 weak matchups at Cincinnati and Washington, but at least he's a lefty that could go out there and give your team some quality starts and decent innings. I know he might get bombed in today's game versus the St. Louis Cardinals, but there's not a lot of good pitching left on the waiver wire. And at least he's been a guy that's been decent over the last couple weeks here, and he's worth an ad. And if he gets hit hard again, you just drop him. But right now, he's worth the ad. The next guy is Michael Soroka, the Atlanta Braves. So Soroka, one of the best pitchers in the league a few seasons ago, but season-ending injuries with the torn Achilles over the last couple years have kept Soroka out. Last season, he didn't pitch at all, and this season getting hurt once again, but right now he's on a rehab assignment, is Soroka, and he struggled in Sunday's rehab assignment yesterday, giving up 2 runs on 6 hits at 3 1/3. But another guy I would take a shot at, the Braves, if they could get him back and build his innings up for the playoff push here, and obviously in the playoffs, which the Braves are going to make. He's available right now in tons of fantasy leagues here, Soroka, in 59% of fantasy leagues. And it's a low-risk, high-reward type of move. Obviously, he's not going to come out of the gates throwing 6, 7 innings right away. But even if he could go 4 or 5 scoreless innings, help your ERA, give you some innings, help your whip as well, and a pitcher you could have at the back end of your rotation, it's definitely a possibility we could see Soroka early September to mid-September here for your playoff push, and obviously in playoff series for fantasy owners. So right now, we know what he's capable of, even though he's coming off a devastating Achilles injury. One of the worst injuries you could have in the major leagues, no doubt about it. But if he could get right and pitch some decent baseball, he's definitely a pitcher that can help fantasy owners and the Atlanta Braves. And right now, he's available still in 59% of fantasy leagues. The next guy is Johnny Cueto of the Chicago White Sox. So Johnny Cueto, very surprising to me. He's still out there. 6% of fantasy leagues on the season, 118 2/3, 6-5 record, a complete game, 113 hits, 34 earned runs, 25 walks, 73 Ks, 15 quality starts on the season, 2.58 ERA, a 1.16 whip, and over the last couple weeks here for Cueto, he's been almost lights out, 22 2/3, 2-0 record, 20 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 9 Ks, 3 quality starts, a 1.19 ERA, and a 1.01 whip. So right now, Cueto, the second best pitcher, I've been saying for weeks here in this White Sox rotation this season. Obviously, Dylan Cease and then him. Giolito hasn't even come close to do what Johnny Cueto's been doing. And Cueto's come out of nowhere this season. He's looked finished over the last couple seasons. But this year, he's doing great. And it helps as well to pitch in a division with weak-hitting teams in that AL Central. Even though the Guardians, not the greatest at hitting teams, still in first place as well. August 10th at Kansas City, 6 innings in that one. No decision, 9 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality start. August 15th versus Houston, 8 innings, got the win. 6 hits, a run, a walk, 3 Ks, a quality start. And August 20th at the Guardians, he almost went the distance. 8 2/3, got the win. 5 hits, no runs, a walk, 2 Ks. So right here, Cueto, he's been lights out like I mentioned. One of the best pitchers in all of fantasy baseball, in my opinion, over the last couple months here. And he's got 9 games in a row with a quality start as Cueto. So he's going out there. He's getting the job done for the Chicago White Sox team. And their team trying to make the playoffs as well. And Cueto's been a big part of this roster when many people thought he was done. So right now, if he's available in your leagues, I wish he was in my leagues. This is a time to go get him because he's pitching great and he can help fantasy owners go deep into the playoffs and possibly win the whole thing. That's how good Cueto is pitching this season. The next guy is Jack Flaherty of the St. Louis Cardinals. So just like Michael Soroka, Jack Flaherty's pretty much been out the whole season here, only pitching a few innings this year on the season here for Flaherty. 8 innings, 0-0 record, 8 hits, 5 runs, 9 walks, 6 Ks, 5.63 ERA, and a 2.13 whip. So Flaherty, he's on rehab assignment as well. And this Cardinal team, they could get strong as well as they're trying to make the push for the playoffs and finish off that NL Central. The trades they made at the deadline were great with Montgomery and Quintana. And now if you could get Jack Flaherty, who obviously was the ace of this rotation coming into the season here, this guy could definitely help fantasy owners. And right now, one more rehab start he's going to make. They're going to stretch him out to try to get to around 90 pitches. And then he should be good to go. Here's Flaherty, available in 45% of fantasy leagues. So he's a guy who's going to be stretched out. There shouldn't be any limitations. And this Cardinal team, they're trying to win another World Series this season here. And if they could get one of their top pitchers back here, he's a guy that's going to go out there. And I think they're going to put him all the way through that 95, 100 pitch outings here is Flaherty, because they know this season they got a shot possibly, even though the National League is pretty stacked with good teams this year with the Mets, the Braves, obviously the Los Angeles Dodgers, Padres, Cardinals. But right now, Jack Flaherty should be back in time, and he can help fantasy owners down the line here in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So I would go out there and give him an ad with his upside and obviously his track record of being a good pitcher, even though you have to worry about him getting injured once again, because it's been that type of season for him. But I definitely would go out there and add Flaherty this week. The next guy, David Peterson of the New York Mets. So Carlos Carrasco, he's out 3 to 4 weeks with an oblique injury. And David Peterson, he's been pretty decent this year as a guy who was in the rotation a lot early in the year when DeGrom and Scherzer were out with their injuries. And now with Carrasco out, Peterson will be the starter, and he came back in the rotation in the doubleheader versus the Phillies in Saturday's game. So on the season here for Peterson, 83 and 2/3, 6-3 record, 71 hits, 32 earned runs, 40 walks, 97 strikeouts, 3 quality starts on the season here. So he's a guy that's not going to go deep into games, but he's on a Met team that's going to get him run support. They're one of the best teams in the league, no doubt about it. And he'll get an opportunity to go out there and win. And on the season, the ERA is at 3.44 with a 1.33 whip. And the Mets here have an easy schedule coming up in the next few weeks here for the season to wrap up. So Peterson definitely can help fantasy owners. And the last few games here for him, July 27th versus the Yankees. In that one, he was in a relief outing, 1/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, a walk and a K. August 6th versus Atlanta, 5 1/3, got the win. 3 walks, 5 Ks, 3 hits in that one. And August 20th at Philly, not a great outing. 4 2/3 got the loss. 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. So right here, he's going to be a mainstay in the rotation. Mets schedule is easy now coming up for pretty much the whole month of September and the end of August here. And his next outing should be versus the Colorado Rockies either Tuesday or Wednesday here for David Peterson. So right now he's available in tons of fantasy leagues at 78%. And I would give him an ad with the team he's on. And he's been pitching pretty decent this season. The next guy is J.P. Sears of the Oakland Athletics. Sears, he was the big deal in that Frankie Montes deal from going from the Yankees to the A's. And so far, Sears, he's the deal so far on the season here. 37 1/3. 5-0 record for Sears, 7 hits, runs, 9 walks, 23 strikeouts on the season for Sears with a 1.90 ERA and an 0.90 whip. So right now, obviously, he was a guy that was ready to go and come to the major leagues. And he's pitched better than Montes so far in the short sample size with that trade going down a few weeks ago towards the MLB trade deadline with the A's and the Yankees. So right here, the A's obviously not in the toughest divisions. We know Houston's the class of the division in the American League this season. But besides that, not a lot of good hitting teams in that American League West. We got the Los Angeles Angels who've totally fizzled out over the last few months of the season. You got the A's, obviously, that have still decent pitching, in my opinion. Seattle, they've been pretty solid. In Texas, they're a hit-or-miss type of team. So the last few outings here for Sears, August 10th versus the Angels, 5 1/3 in that one, no decision. 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 Ks in that ball game. August 16th at Texas, 5 innings, got the win. 3 walks, 2 Ks, 4 hits in that ball game. And August 21st versus the Mariners, 5 innings, got the win in that ball game. 6 hits, a run, a walk, 3 Ks. So right here, he's not going to go deep into games. Right now, he's a 5-inning pitcher, but he's taking care of business within the division ball games here is J.P. Sears. And he's available in tons of fantasy leagues right now, in 86% of leagues. If you need a pitcher, you could go out there, pitch some decent outings. Not going to get quality starts or many wins, but everything else he should help you for your fantasy team. He's a perfect ad this week. The next guy is Cavalli of the Washington Nationals. So Cavalli, a lot of hype, and he should be up within September here is Cavalli. So right now the Nationals, obviously a rebuilding team, a rebuilding season. Trading Juan Soto towards the MLB trade run for 6 top prospects in the Padres system. So right now, he's a few starts away, supposedly, is Cavalli from getting in this rotation. And he's been good this season, no doubt about it. High strikeout guy. Fantasy owners could definitely look as a guy to add here for obviously Dynasty League or Keeper Leagues. But even in the regular season, they're going to call him up, and he's going to get probably 2 or 3 starts as Cavalli. And if you need a guy with upside and who can help in strikeouts, not going to get many wins in a tough division in the NL East here, but definitely with upside and it can help strikeouts, probably quality starts and innings pitch. Cade Cavalli's definitely a guy in deeper leagues I would look at. And he's available right now, 97% of fantasy leagues. And the final pitcher I looked at this week's Roansy Contreras of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Contreras recently came back from the minor leagues, and he had an extended stay there. I thought he was going to come back up immediately after the All-Star break, but the Pirates waited a few weeks here to call him back up. So on the season for Contreras, 56 innings, 3-3 record, 53 hits, 25 runs, 26 walks, 53 strikeouts, a quality start, a 4.02 ERA, and a 1.14 whip. So right now, Contreras available in tons of leagues in 87%. And he's a guy that's not going to go deep into games, but he can help you in a few categories here. He's going to get you quality starts from time to time. He's going to keep that ERA down pretty decent on the year. And I know he's on a bad team in Pittsburgh, but at least they got something with him, I believe. A guy with major upside can help in strikeouts, and he could eat innings as well. The last few outings here for him, July 7th at Cincinnati, 6 innings got the win. 4 hits, a run, a walk, 7 Ks, a quality start. And August 17th versus Boston, 6 innings got the loss, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, 3 Ks. So right here, tough matchup tonight versus the Atlanta Braves, who've been one of the hottest teams in all the major leagues over the last couple weeks, winning 9 out of this 11 games. So right now, it might be a tough outing tonight, no doubt about it, for Contreras. Pittsburgh, one of the worst teams in the National League here. But even at that, he's a guy that could go out there and help fantasy owners. So that's a few pitches I look to add here in a crucial Week 19 of the fantasy baseball season.